and me. So for today's presentation, our group will introduce the data analysis in qualitative research. Before our group present, I would like to give a short summary on the previous topic, focused group discussion. Next slide, please. Okay, so FGD means a group discussion for people from similar backgrounds or experiences to gather their opinions or ideas on a specific topic. Usually, the group is formed by 4 to 12 participants, and the ideal size of the group is 4 to 6. In FGD, the role of the interviewer is to lead and encourage the participants much as possible perspectives on the topic. It is suggested to select participants who share common experience rather than from diverse backgrounds. Next slide, please. So the main reason why choosing FGD are firstly, free discussion on the specific topic could elicit different new ideas, which is useful, especially for decision-making in market research. Second, nonverbal expression in FGD, such as respondents' gesture and body language, provide the researchers with useful insights. Finally, FGD is low cost and enables speedy results. However, FGD also has some manifest drawbacks. First, researchers have less control in FGD, especially when the moderator is inexperienced. The discussion may be dominated by the participants. Because of the less controllability, FGD requires high-level and carefully trained interviewers who are experienced in using the interview techniques such as shifting topics, open-ended questioning. And finally, respondents may be reluctant to share some sensitive ideas and concerns publicity. This could result in deceiving responses. Next, please. So here are some key steps for organizing an FGD. At the very beginning, according to the research objectives and research questions, set criteria on selecting respondents, and then form the group for the interview and clarify the responsibility of the researcher or moderator. Still, in line with the research, develop the guidelines for both moderator and the group discussion. For testing the validity, it is necessary to have a pilot test for the instruments and for the format. When the format is valid, it could proceed to the formal FGD. Finally, is to transcribe the responses and analysis for the research objectives. Then I will pass it on to my partner, Harayati.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Chen. Okay, now we go to our topic today is what is the data analysis in qualitative research. Okay, data analysis is a process of systematically searching and arranging the interview transcript, observing notes or other non-textual materials that the researcher accumulates to increase the understanding of the phenomenon. Okay, the data analysis is the process of making meaning of the data. Okay, next slide. Okay, analyzing your data is vital as you have spent time and money collecting it. It is an essential process because you don't want to find yourself in the dark even after putting it in so much effort. However, there are no set ground rules for analyzing qualitative data. It's all begin with understanding the two main approaches to qualitative data. There is a deductive approach and inductive approach. The first one is deductive approach. Deductive approach involves analyzing qualitative data based on a structure that is predetermined by the researcher. A researcher can use the questions as a guide for analyzing the data. This approach is quick and easy. and can be used when a researcher has a fair idea about the likely responses that he or she is going to receive from the population. The second one is the inductive approach. The inductive approach, on the contrary, is not based on a predetermined structure or set ground rules or framework. It is more time-consuming and through approach to qualitative data analysis. An inductive approach is often used when a researcher has very little or no idea of the research phenomenon. Okay, now we go to the next slide about the 5 steps to qualitative data analysis. Okay, whether you are looking to analyze qualitative data collected through a one-to-one interview or qualitative data from other set, okay, this simple step will ensure a robust data analysis. Number 1, arrange your data. Okay, once you have collected all the data, it is largely unstructured and sometimes make no sense when looked at a glance. Therefore, it is essential that as a researcher, you first need to transcribe the data collected. The first step in analyzing your data is arranging it systematically. Arranging data means converting all the data into a text format. You can either export the data into a spreadsheet or manually type in the data or choose from any of the computer-assisted qualitative data analysis tools. Okay, number 2, organize all your data. After transforming and arranging your data, the immediate next step is to organize your data. There is a chances you most likely have a large amount of information that still need to be arranged in an orderly manner. One of the best way to organize the data is by going back to your research objective and then organizing the data based on the questions asked. Arrange your research objective in a table so it appears visually clear. Okay, at all costs, avoid the temptation of working with unorganized data. You will end up wasting time and there will be no conclusive result obtained. Okay, number 3, set a code to the data collected. Setting up proper codes for the collected data takes you a step ahead. Coding is one of the best way to compress a tremendous amount of information collected. The coding of qualitative data simply means categorizing and assigning properties and patterns to the collected data. Coding is an important step in qualitative data analysis as you can derive theories from the relevant research findings. After assigning code to your data, you can then begin to build on the patterns to gain in-depth insight into the data that will help make informed decisions. Number 4, okay, validating data is one of the crucial steps of qualitative data analysis for successful research. Since data is quintessential for the research, it is imperative to ensure that the data is not flawed. Please note that the data validation is not just one step in qualitative data analysis. This is a recurring step that needs to be followed throughout the research process. There are 2 sides to validating data. Number 1, accuracy of your research design or method. And number 2, reliability, which is the extent to which the method produces accurate data consistently. Okay, and the last step is concluding the analysis process. It is important to finally conclude your data, which means systematically presenting your data, a report that can be readily used. The report should state the method that you, as a researcher, use to conduct the research study, the positive and the negative, and the study limitation. In the report, you should also state the suggestion or inference of your findings and any related areas for future research. Okay, that's all for me. Now I pass to my friends, Puan Aida Tushima.
Okay, thank you, Hayati. My name is Aida. So I will describe about the paradigm in qualitative research. So first is about the ethnography. Ethnography is about study of a culture of cultures using participant observation over an extended period of time. And next, narrative method is a way to gather a sequence of events. Narrative conduct in deep interview, read documents, and look for themes. For the next is about the phenomenology. Phenomenology is to describe an event, activity, or phenomenon. It uses a combination of methods. And next, grounded theory. Grounded theory is to provide an explanation of theory behind the events, used primarily interviews and existing documents. And the last one is about the case study. Case study is to study about deep understanding through multiple types of data sources, and it can be explanatory, exploratory, or describing an event. Next slide, please. Okay, this is about qualitative data analysis that require a 5-step process. We look for the first step is prepare and organize your data. So, print out your transcript, gather your notes, documents, or other material, mark the source and any demographic you may have collected or any other information that will help you analyze your data. Second step is review and explore the data. This will require you to read your data probably several times to get a sense of what it contains. You may want to keep notes about your thought, idea, or any question you have. Okay, next, step 3, create initial codes. You may use highlighters, notes in the margins, sticky pads, concept maps, or anything else that help you to connect with your data. See the attached document that demonstrate keywords and phrase as well as make notes in the margin to categorize the data. For the step 4 is to review those codes and revise or combine into themes. So you must identify recurring themes, language, opinions, and belief. And the last step is present themes in a cohesive manner. So you must consider your audience, the purpose of the study, and what content should be included to best tell the story of your data. That's all from me. Thank you. Next, I will pass to the Haza.
Okay, thank you, Puan Aida. Okay, I'm Haza. So I will present to you all about constructing characteristic of 5 qualitative approaches. Okay, for the characteristic, if we look at the focus one, for the narrative research method, is for the exploring the life of an individual. Phenomenology, we use for it understanding the essence of the experience. Grounded theory, we focus more on for developing a theory grounded in data from the field. Ethnography, describing and interpreting a culture sharing group. And for case study, developing an in-depth description and analysis of a case or multiple cases. For the character type of problem best suited for design, for narrative research is a needing to tell stories of individual experiences. Phenomenology, needing to describe the essence of a life phenomenon. Grounded theory, grounding a theory in the views of participants. Ethnography, describing and interpreting the shared patterns of culture of a group. Case study, providing an in-depth understanding of a case of cases. For characteristic in a discipline background, for narrative research is for drawing from humanities, including anthropology, literature, history, psychology, and sociology. Phenomenology, drawing from philosophy, psychology, and education. For grounded theory, we can use it drawing from sociology. Ethnography, drawing from anthropology and sociology. Case study, drawing from psychology, law, political science, and medicine. Okay, for characteristic and for unit of analysis, for narrative research, we use it studying one or more individual. Phenomenology, we studying several individuals. that have shared the experience. Grounded theory, studying a process, action, or interaction involving many individuals. Ethnography, studying a group that shared the same culture. For case study, studying an event, a program, an activity, more than one individual. Okay, in data collection forms, for narrative research, using a primary, interviews and documents. Phenomenology, using primary interviews with individual, although documents, observation, and art may also be considered in phenomenology. For grounded theory, using primarily interviews with 20 to 60 individuals. Ethnography, using primary observation and interviews, but perhaps collecting other sources during extended time in field. So extra data. For case study, we're using multiple sources such as interview, observation, documents, and artifacts. Okay, for data analysis strategies. In narrative research, analyzing data for stories, restoring stories, developing themes, often using a chronology. Phenomenology, analyzing data for significant statements, meaning units, textual and structural description of the essence. Grounded theory, analyzing data through open coding, exile coding, and selective coding. Ethnography, analyzing data through description of the culture, sharing groups, themes about the group. Case study, analyzing data through description of the case and themes of the case, as well as cross-case themes. Okay, for written report, for narrative research, developing a narrative about the stories of an individual life. Phenomenology, describing the essence of the experience. Grounded theory, generating a theory illustrated in a figure. Ethnography, describing how a culture sharing group works. And for case study, developing a detailed analysis of one or more cases. Okay, I will pass to my another member, Puan Mawa.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Okay, I'm Mawa. Okay, now I will proceed the coding topic. Okay. Okay, the first thing is, what is the coding? Okay, they have two definition here that I wrote. I picked from the Rosman Arelis 2012. Okay, the coding is the process of organizing the data by bracketing chunks or text or image segments and writing a word representing a category in the margins. Okay, and then Creswell 2018. Okay, the coding, it involves the taking text data or pictures gathered during data collection, segmenting sentences or paragraph, okay, or images into categories and labeling those categories with a term often based in the actual language of the participant called an in vivo term. Okay, they have three types of coding. Okay, first we have expected codes, okay, which is this expected code is a code on a topic that readers would expect to find based on the literature and common sense. Okay, the second one is a surprising codes. Okay, this type of codes is on findings that are surprising and could not be anticipated before the study began. Okay, while the last one is a codes of unusual or of a conceptual interest. Okay, this kind of codes is unusual ideas. Okay, and those that are in and of themselves of conceptual interest to readers. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, now they have two types of the coding process. Okay, either we can do the inductive coding, okay, or we can do also the deductive coding. Okay, for the inductive coding, is we start by the theory and then hypothesis, observation, and the confirmation. Okay, which is this type of coding process is the best for the first round of analysis, which is determine text as you go along. But this is the lengthier process. Okay, basically, mostly that all the scholars mostly choose the deductive coding. Why? Because this is the best for the subsequent rounds of analysis. Okay, which is we can use a predetermined set of text. Okay, which is this is the quicker process, which is we can start by the information, pattern, hypothesis, and then we come out with the theory. Alright. Next, Haza. Okay, now this is from Graswell 2012. We can see here is a visual model, okay, of the coding process in the qualitative research, which is the first one, when we do the interview or so on, when we collect the data, okay, we will get the many pages of text, and then we narrow down into the segment of the text, which is we will divide all the text into the segments, okay, of information, and then we go to around the 30 to 40 codes, okay, and then we can reduce the codes into around 20, okay, and then which is we can reduce the overlap or redundancy of the codes, and finally the code will reduce to 5 to the 7 teams. Okay, so this is we collapse the codes into teams. So we will come out from the larger text, become the smaller or the narrow of the teams. Okay, this is the process that we can do the coding process. Okay, next, Haza. Okay, so this is the step in coding the data. Okay, how we want to start our coding steps. Okay, for the first one, okay, when we get the data, okay, we will read all the transcription, which is we will pick the shortest or interesting document, one interview or one field notes. Okay, the second step, we will underline the meaning of answer given, which is we can draw a box around the answer. Okay, and then the three, we will begin the coding process. Okay, by identify the text segment, okay, which is the sentence or the paragraph that relate to the single code. We will break it around them, and then we will assign a code word. Okay, and then the fourth, after we coding, we list all the code words, which is we grouping it into the similar code. So we will become which is the redundant code we will remove. So this is what we call as the category. Okay, and then we go back to the data, and then we organize scheme to see whether the new codes merge, and then we will circle the specific codes from participant to support the codes. And finally, we will reduce the list of the codes to get the small teams, which is around 5 to the 7 teams. Why we need the small teams? Okay, because this is the best to write qualitative report providing detailed information about a few teams, rather than general information about many teams. So, as a conclusion, that we must narrow down our text to become a small team. Alright? Okay. Okay, that's all from me about the coding. So I pass to my friends Tamara.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much, Mawa. And today I will focusing on categorizing and thematizing. And we will start about the definition of category. A category is a grouping you impose in the coded segment in order to reduce the number of different pieces of data in your analysis. Next slide, please. And to get from the coded to the themes, we use the categories to help narrow down and identify the patterns. The process to data analysis is three: coding, category, theme. So how to categorizing? The first one, organize codes into a large categories. Second, organize the categories into larger overachieving themes, thematic analysis. Next slide, Hasa, please. There are three tips for categorizing data. The first one, data can be categorized into more than one code or theme. Second, make a notes. Three, identify possible additional codes or theme. Next slide, please, Hazel. Now we will talk about the question that you might want to ask of your categories data includes. The first one, are there any links between codes? Are there any other patterns, themes, or trends? Are there any definition from these patterns? Are outcomes different for different group of people? The last one, why were some outcomes achieved and other not achieved? So the Next slide. Now we will talk about the themes. We'll start with the definition of the theme. What is it, the theme? Theme is a capture something important about the data in a relation to the research question and represent some level of present response or meaning within the data set. So next. The process of the thematizing contains 6 steps. First one, formalize yourself with your data. Assign primarily codes to your data in order to describe the content. 3, search for patterns of themes in your codes across the different interview. Review the themes. Define and name the themes. The last one is produce your report. Next. Okay, categorizing codes and generating themes based on 3 steps. The first one, relationship between codes. The second, code frequencies. The third one is underlining meaning across codes. Okay, that's all from me, and yes.
So Mama, please introduce this one.
Okay, so now to make all of you more understand how to code the data from let's say that from semi-structured interview, how to code. Okay, so we will show you how to code, but by using the software of Atlas TI9. Okay, please watching and enjoy yourself. Okay, so now here is the folder for assignment 1. So this document, so we can edit any kind of file. We can edit Microsoft Word. We can edit any picture. We can edit any video recording or audio recording as well. Okay, so for document, okay, let's say I want to edit the new document. Okay, so I add file. So so here is my file. Open the 1, 2, 3. So I will open it. Okay, so now I'm just use the I just show the by using Microsoft Word only. Okay, so let me see one by one. So this is the document 1, respondent 1. Okay, this question that the interview I give to my respondent. Okay, and then we can open up all the file. Okay, so they have 3 files here, which is I just discussed one question. Okay, by three respondents answer. How to coding the conversation, okay, the data obtained. Okay, for the first one, okay, we can start by create the code first. Okay, actually, okay, this is the code. Okay, let's say I want to create the code. Okay, let's say they have no even one code yet. Okay, so to put the code, let's say that I want to use teaching effects as a first code. Okay, great. Okay, so there. Okay, and then I want to edit some more as a filling. Okay, filling, and the second code. Okay, so they have 2 codes that I just made. Okay, we go to the first respondent. Okay, let's say that you read the data. Okay, the data obtained. You read that, you see that, oh, okay, so the first one, which is the classmate easy to memorize, is a teaching effect. Okay, you can, first, you can, you expand first. Okay, we can just do drag and drop. Okay, go to our first respondent. So let's say that the one is a teaching effect. So you just drag and give to the highlight part. Okay, chemistry becomes interesting and not boring. Okay, let's say that I want to put this word. Okay, so I see that, okay, become interesting and not boring. It's like feeling, more to feeling. So you can drag and drop. You can drag the code and put Okay, so now we just code two things lah. Okay, we go to the second respondent. We read again. Okay, the way teacher teach using diagram and stories in the classroom is interesting. When we read, okay, we realize that they have no even feeling or teaching effects, but you found the new code, okay, the new keyword, okay, that can you create. Okay, so what can we do is, okay, we can click for the codes and we can create the new code, which is when you read our respondents answer, you found the new code, so you just create the new code. Okay, let's say that one is more to the teaching method. Teaching method. So you just create the new code. Okay, then now they have 3 codes. Okay, and then teacher teach using diagram and story in classroom. So this one more to teaching method. So you just put okay, the teaching method. Okay, we're done for the respondent 2. Okay, we go to the respondent 3. Okay, now how to create the network, okay, that we can use or we can paste into our proposal. Okay, and now we go to coding. Okay, now we want to show in terms of coding form. Okay, this is the coding. Okay, and then we want to doing our theme, okay, according to the code using, okay, let's say that start by filling. Okay, click the filling and then open network. Okay, here is the network. Okay, here is the network. Okay, let's say this is the network. Okay, from this network we can edit its color. Okay, we can edit, we put the color, okay, in the center one. Okay, how to see all the item that we code. Okay, we click add neighbor. Okay, and then add quotation. This is all the quotation that we coding. Okay, here is okay all the list. Okay, and then okay, from this design we can change it. Okay, the layout. Okay, either we want to these shapes. Okay, this shape. So any shape you can choose. Okay, let's say that I want to use this. Okay, so this is all the answers by respondent 1. Okay, this is the respondent 1, respondent 3, respondent 2. So that from this diagram, okay, you can make the interpretation, right? Okay, and then we can screenshot, okay, this diagram so we can interpret in terms of the feeling thing. Okay, that's all.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Okay, that's all from us. Shukran.
Terima kasih.
Thank you. Terima kasih. Syukran.
Okay.
Alright, thank you.
Bye bye. All.
Thank you.